Good morning. It's time to get in touch. Brought to you by Geisinger Muncie and Jersey Shore. State-of-the-art healthcare close to home. Every week, this public affairs show shines a spotlight on people and programs in our communities that improve the quality of life in Lycoming County and beyond. I'm Freddi Hammer, host of In Touch and news director at Backyard Broadcasting. Today on In Touch, we're talking about a decision that could shape the future of local government here in Williamsport. Voters will decide in May whether to create a home rule study commission, a group that would explore and potentially redesign how the city is governed. A public meet and greet was held, giving residents a chance to learn more and ask questions. And joining us right now are two candidates for that proposed commission, Payne and Andrew Dincher. Thanks for being here today, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
It's really nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too.
We want to actually just start with the basics. We want to know what exactly home rule is. Can you give us a little definition of what that could be for us in Williamsport?
Yeah, for sure. We're still learning ourselves, but so far the basics are that essentially we are going to be rewriting the city charter.
Okay.
Right now we have a city charter. It's pretty old. It was adopted in right around 1960, I believe.
Okay.
And basically home rule will give Williamsport the ability to rewrite the city constitution to more easily deal with more modern issues that the city is facing.
Okay. So that's a simple way to look at that. Compared to now, what would that look like? We don't really know yet, do we?
Well, compared to now, so now we are considered a third-class city.
Okay.
Right. So under, being a third-class city, we have a certain amount of basically rules and regulations that we have to follow when it comes to certain things. So basically, right now, it's kind of set in stone how the city is governed. Right?
Okay.
And what home rule can do is it can affect a series of things. One of them, it gives the city a little bit more flexibility when it comes to taxation. So right now, Williamsport basically relies almost completely on property tax.
Okay.
Right? So it would give the city a little bit more flexibility to tax not just not just property tax, but it could do like a earned income tax, something of that nature. And I know people are probably already thinking, oh, does this mean my taxes are going to go up? Not necessarily. Mm-hmm. It could mean that, the city could levy a tax, like an earned income tax, and then eventually property taxes could come down. And we also have to remember that, any tax that is levied in the city of Williamsport still has to go through city council and the mayor and so forth. So it's not just like, we write this new charter and we give the city the ability to do all these different things.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden our taxes are way higher. That's not necessarily the case. It still has to go through the process of everything that we would have to go through now. Now that process could look different because the home rule charter could affect how city council operates. It could affect how the mayor operates. So we could have a weak mayor versus a strong mayor right now. We could have a strong city council. We could have a weak city council. Right now, city council and the mayor are pretty co-equal, at least on my understanding of it is that they're pretty co-equal. And I don't think any of us are really looking to change that. But it would give us the opportunity to look into what changes we could make. And instead of having like a strong mayor, we could have a weak mayor and essentially hire a city manager who would then oversee the day-to-day issues. And there's some pros and cons to that. With a city manager, they would be an employee of the city. They would have a long-term institutional knowledge of the city once they're here and started. But at the same time, they're not necessarily answerable to voters like a mayor would be.
I see.
Right. So there's a lot of different things. And right now, we're not really looking to change how city council and the mayor operate per se. It's something that would be looked into, though.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the key with this is understanding that third-class cities in Pennsylvania are incredibly constrained by what they can do by state law.
Okay.
So essentially the interpretation is if the state constitution doesn't say explicitly that a third-class city can do something, it is assumed it cannot. And so home rule is if home rule were to be passed in whatever form we were to propose after an 18-month period, right? And that even assumes that in May, the voters vote yes and say, just study it. Right? That's all that we would do in May. It changes nothing. After 18 months, it essentially says if we've said yes at every point, that we now have the right to do significantly more than we do at present.
Okay.
And we don't know what that looks like. Andrew's given some really good examples of the types of questions. There are 100 more things that can be decided. The key, though, is it kind of doesn't I don't know, right? It might not make sense to have very few conditions that a city is allowed to operate within, as opposed to having a larger menu to choose from.
Did you look at State College, which is an example of a city with home rule? I mean, did you take a look at them and the other little cities around here, the third-class cities that changed to home rule? How did that affect you?
So we've done, I mean, as individuals, we've done a little bit of research to get up to speed on what home rule is. Yeah. But in general, we've not even been given a mandate to study anything yet.
I see.
And so we only were, I think we individually were approached by different people on city council, the mayor, to say, hey, City Council has decided to put this issue on the ballot. We want 7 people who are going to take this seriously and that we think bring a range of perspectives and experiences to the table. Would you do that? We only got our signatures for the ballot maybe a month ago.
Yeah, I think it was March 11th. March 11th, we had the signatures, and like this Friday would have been our 3rd meeting.
Okay. As a group.
Just to kind of like discuss like kind of the basics.
Sure.
So we're very much still learning what home rule is.
And right now, all we're focused on is turning out the vote to give us permission to study it.
Sure.
Right. So May, all that means is if a majority of people who vote in the May primary on May 19th say yes to the question of a home rule study, that means we will then be in a position to put a lot more time into it and be supported by a state grant. The state will pay 90% of the cost of doing this study, and that includes hiring a consulting firm that we will choose from a range of options that has experiences working with places like State College, like Scranton, even places that have put home rule on the ballot and it failed.
I see.
So I think we've each done our own research to make sure that we're well versed in what is possible. Being the nerdy political scientist that I am, I've already started a data set of all the third-class cities and the non-third-class cities, but I've told myself not to invest a ton of time until the good people of Williamsport decide that I should invest a ton of time in that.
Well, did you find that out during the meet and greet? I mean, how was the turnout for that, and what was your feedback that you got?
Yeah, the turnout was great. I'm not exactly sure how many people there, but it had to be at least 25 to 30 people.
Yeah, maybe more.
Maybe a little more. I don't know.
Yeah. But that's a percentage of people that are arriving. There's others that are interested that couldn't come.
Exactly. And like when we were kind of putting this all together on the fly a little bit, and we were not expecting that type of turnout. We were hoping for that type of turnout, but we were all pleasantly surprised that we had that many people. We had a lot of questions, a lot of people interested in what home rule is, how it's going to affect them, how it might affect their business if they're business owners, and how it might affect them as a taxpayer. But we had a lot of great questions. I'm trying to think of some specifics. Mostly people seem to be just wanting clarification on what home rule actually is, and like how the process of getting to home rule and how that's going to function.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I think a lot of curiosity about what exactly am I voting for this May?
Okay.
And what am I just kind of saying, yes, we're going to throw caution to the wind and have a whole new form of government in Williamsport. And so a lot of it was saying, okay, so this May, what we're voting for is, do we study it? And by we mean the 7 people that have put forward their names and gotten signatures in Williamsport. And if we say yes, then we'll spend 9 months with the help of that consulting firm studying home rule and come up with a proposal then of generally what are the types of decisions that we think would be good decisions for Williamsport. Sure. Once we do that, you have no more than 9 months to do that, which puts us at this really weird period in time between elections, right? So unless we're just moving like gangbusters,
right.
It will not be on the ballot in November of 2026. But in May of 2027, we will then put on the ballot the specific plan, the outline, the shell of the plan of what the commission will put forward.
Did you think that was the biggest misconception, that they were going to be voting for this change right now?
Yes, I think that was the biggest misconception we had. There's a vote coming up in May, and it's going to decide whether or not to adopt home rule, and that is absolutely not the case. Most of the people on the commission right now are very like in the middle on
we don't know.
everything.
Sure.
We don't know. I mean, and we're very much interested in finding out what this has to offer, but ultimately we're very much in the middle on whether this is good. I don't think there's anybody on the commission that's like, I want to do this no matter what, or anybody on this commission who's like, no, absolutely not. We are very interested in doing the study, and that is all you are voting for in May this year coming up, is to do the study.
Okay.
And it's going to be thrown back to the voters of Williamsport multiple times. So it'll be thrown back to the voters in May, whether we even do the study. Once we do the study, there will be another referendum after everybody's read what we have, the work we've done, and we have all done the study, and everybody's gotten a chance to look it over in the city. And then we will be deciding to adopt that charter that we come up with.
Okay.
But right now it's just, I mean, if the vote isn't yes in May, we all just go home and it never happens. So, there's no study done. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
It's sort of fun to move forward in a way.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think so. And to be intentional about, is what we have good or bad?
Sure.
What works, what doesn't? I think to assume that we should just say this is our form of government and this is the exact way that we should always do things, and assume that the answer is yes 50 years, 60 years, 70 years after the fact is just kind of silly, right? I'm a professor, and if I let my students get away with that, right, if they put forward a plan that they never assessed to see if it was working or not, and if they weren't willing to change as change was needed, they would not get an A, right? And so it is kind of actually silly, I think, that as the standard for government, we are just like, this is it.
Never change it.
Never change it.
Yeah.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I understand too, and the state loves to have arbitrary rules on things. If we don't pass this, or if we don't vote yes to look into the government study in May, I think we have to wait 5 years till we do it again.
Yeah, it can't go back on the ballot for 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we say no this year, that means we kick the can down the road for 5 years. And I think it's really important to know that home rule, regardless of where we end up, home rule was recommended by the DCED, the Department of Community and Economic Development, for the state of Pennsylvania when they came in and spent like a year analyzing the city's finances. They're essentially saying, there is a financial reason that we're looking at this. This is why it got put on the table, because expenses for the city of Williamsport have continued to go up, just like our own household expenses have continued to go up. But revenue has gone down because we have a shrinking population, and that just doesn't work. The math doesn't math over the long term. And so they have recommended that they see this as maybe the only long-term way out of the problem.
Okay.
And so if we have to wait 5 years to even study it, that's a challenge.
Sure.
Right.
And it could go south before we even get to the point where we can fix it.
Exactly. I also think it's important to add that in addition to having voters be able to have input during the election cycles, if 51% or more of the people who turn out for the May election say, yes, please study this, see what we need to do, we will be meeting at least twice a month. Each of those meetings will be an hour and a half to 2 hours, and they will be open to the public, and there will be time for public comment at the beginning and the end of every meeting.
Okay.
So our expectation isn't just that we go into like a closed room and work alone. That's not productive. We will be wanting people to come forward and give us feedback and ask questions and push us and make suggestions along the way.
Are there just 7 people right now being considered as the committee at this point, and then it will be all 7?
Yes.
Yes, to my understanding, yes. I don't think there's an opportunity for write-ins on the ballot. That question was asked on.
We are seeking clarification.
There's clarification on that, but as of now, there are 7 people on the ballot, and there's 7 people. Just the 7. So.
Would you consider that structure of the 7? Would there be a committee leader and different kinds of offices in this situation, or is it just the committee all working together as one?
I think as of now, it's just kind of the committee all working together as one. Once we kind of get rolling, I think there will be some kind of de facto positions that people take just based on the experience in this type of thing.
Yeah.
And skill sets. But as of now, I think we're all just kind of like working on this together.
Sure. Yeah. Would you say that the people are really concerned about higher taxes?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
We're concerned about higher taxes. We both live in the city and do business in the city.
Okay.
Yes. Yep, exactly.
And that is sort of a little microcosm of the decision making right here. This isn't going to affect Loyalsock or Montoursville.
No, it's not Loyalsock, Montoursville. It's only Williamsport. So it's like, Newberry, Williamsport, and that's it. But yeah, as Caroline said, I live in the city. I work in the city. I don't necessarily want to see my taxes go up. I don't think anybody necessarily does. So we're all in that same boat together, and it's not like we're a bunch of people from Loyalsock on this commission deciding things for Williamsport. We're all from Williamsport. So whatever we decide, whatever we put into the new charter when it's written, will 100% affect us too. So
and I will say, none of us, we represent different income groups, right? But I would say that the majority of us would be concerned about an increase in taxes based on our own personal position, right? Like we are not the uber elite wealthy of Williamsport that taxes might not affect in the same way.
You're everyman.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
I think that's a good way to look at it.
This guy's a tree surgeon.
Yeah, I work on trees.
You know about all trees.
Yeah.
I'm an underpaid professor.
Exactly.
Tell me a little bit about the other folks on the committee. Who else is up for this position?
So far right now it's of course the two of us. Brianna Stetz. She is, I think, a victims advocate. She's currently working. Well, I know she's in the National Guard.
Yes.
And that's kind of her
serves locally.
There's J. David Smith, who used to be the city solicitor.
So good experience with city law.
Yeah. Yep.
Knows everything in and out, which we're excited about.
Liz Mealy, who is currently on city council.
So she's kind of bringing the voice of city council. I think in the past, she's chaired finance, so a good understanding of the city finances. Sure. We have from kind of representing the mayor's office is Valerie Fessler, who is the director of community and economic development locally.
Okay.
And Dante
Eliam, who is a local attorney and also a co-owner of the Peter Hurdick House.
Yep.
So the work between council and this committee is definitely going to be important, and good to have the communication that you do with the people there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
What do you think that will look like as far as moving forward? You said you're going to have meetings twice a month, but then how do you come back to the council to discuss? Is that something that a consultant would mediate?
My understanding is we don't.
I see.
So it is an independent commission.
I see.
And so that's why there is a kind of a liaison from both the mayor's office and council to provide perspective. But the city council does not have to approve, nor does the mayor's office have to approve what we propose. And I think that's good, right? The point is to study the form of government and the effectiveness of government and what will be better. And sometimes that's hard for people that are sitting in those chairs.
Yeah, for sure. I'm wondering about how it's going to, the best case scenario as far as home rule goes. What could be the best case scenario moving forward for the city?
That is a great question. So I think the best case scenario is that, the fiscal position of the city is improved. We're no longer running under a deficit. I think that is 100% best case scenario. I also think that best case scenario is a city in which, the people have more say in the day-to-day operation of the city, and that could be put forward under home rule through things like
a referendum.
Yes.
Yeah, we could essentially specify that certain issues have to come before the voters for referenda.
I see.
We could also say, even for the home rule charter itself, we could set an expiration and say it needs to go back on the ballot in 5 years, right? To see if what we're doing we like.
Sure.
One of the things that I personally, as a political scientist, find super interesting is thinking about how do we empower the people of Williamsport to feel more connected to Williamsport and to feel more connected to their representatives. And so right now, we're not committing to anything, right? But like an idea that I find exciting to think about is right now, city council is elected from at-large seats, which means they can live anywhere in the city.
Okay.
And it happens to be that people that are on city council live in mainly a similar area, and they're very similar in their background. I think, an exciting thing would be to think about electing people from wards, which is like from specific districts, to represent the people that live there, so that we get a little bit more diversity and perspective and experience, and that if you're going home to the place that you were charged to represent, right, it's just like a congressperson.
Sure.
If they have a problem, they don't call some number and leave a message because they don't know who is supposed to be their advocate, but they know you are their advocate. So there are a whole lot of options to make the city stronger, more financially solvent, but also just get citizens invested and passionate.
Yes.
Do you see that this could bring out people to the voting situation?
I hope so. Yeah. I think that's definitely 100% one of the things that we're hoping that this can help have happen is to, just to have more people come out to the voting booths on a more regular basis to vote to vote on things that are actually going to affect them, every day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing a little bit more about this committee, and I'm hoping that, what do you tell people that are on the fence, like, it doesn't matter? Like, what would you say?
What I tell people is that, as we've already said, in May, we won't find out anything if we don't get to do the study in the first place. So if you're on the fence about it, give us the opportunity to find out more. And then, because we're all on the fence about it. So if you give us the opportunity to vote yes, we will find out exactly what this is going to affect, and we'll be able to hopefully put their minds at ease if they're very much against, and hopefully persuade them to do it if we can come up with a good charter. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything you want to add?
If you vote yes, there are literally no costs. There are no consequences. Yep. Only for the 7 of us spending our time. Yeah. That's it.
Right. That was the question. I was like, how's your family affected by you being on this committee? I'm sure they're getting some feedback from family and friends.
Yeah, it's just me and my wife. I don't have any kids or anything like that. So we're always busy anyhow. So we kind of expect this type of thing to come up.
Yeah, I think Andrew and I and our family situations are very similar. We're busy people, but I've had many people ask why in the world I'm doing this. I don't have time. Yeah. And the answer is you're right, I don't, but I'll make time because it's something that's really important.
Sure, to help keep going with the Williamsport interests here. We want to make sure that we have people representing.
Yeah, absolutely. We've made this our home, right? Yeah. And if we have the time and the skills and the knowledge to make it a better place and give it a stable future, that's our responsibility.
Well, I love the idea that you're doing this, and thank you for your time that you're investing into Williamsport.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's definitely wonderful. We're here with Caroline Payne and Andrew Dincher. They're candidates for the proposed Home Rule Study Commission. So we want to make sure everybody gets out in May to vote. What is this going to be, like one of those extra things on the ballot that, like at the bottom?
I don't know exactly its ballot placement. We've not gotten the sample ballot. But one really important thing to note is normally in primaries, we have a closed primary system. So normally in Pennsylvania, if you're not registered Republican or registered Democrat, you can't go vote.
Okay.
You can vote for this. You finally, if you are an independent or a third party, you finally have the chance to matter in a primary.
Yay.
I'm very excited.
How did that come about? How did that change come about? Is that just a state thing that happened in Harrisburg?
No, it's technically, if it is for a candidate, only people who are registered in that party can vote for a candidate in a primary. Okay. But if it is an issue, if it's a referendum, and this will be for every referendum associated with home rule now and in the future, everyone has the right to vote. You do not have to belong to a political party. And in fact, 3 people on the commission are all registered independents. Yep. So we're very excited.
Yep.
Yeah.
So all you have to be to vote on this is a registered voter in the City of Williamsport. That's all you got to be. It doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green Party, anything else. You can come and you can vote for this commission to be put in place.
So you're kind of campaigning here. You're going to be going forward telling everybody, come vote. This is really also advocating for the voting.
Yes, absolutely.
And for this referendum.
Yeah, take ownership. It's your city, too.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, again, thank you so much, Caroline Payne and Andrew Dincher, candidates for the proposed Home Rule Study Commission. Thanks for joining us this morning on In Touch.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
In Touch is locally produced in our studios at 1685 4 Mile Drive in Williamsport. To get in touch with us for questions, comments, or topic ideas, call weekdays 570-323-8200 or email me at fhammer@backyardbroadcasting.com. For archived files of our In Touch shows, find our Backyard Podcasting link on any Backyard Broadcasting website or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Backyard Broadcasting. The programming discussed here on In Touch does not necessarily reflect the feelings or opinions of the management or staff. Thanks for listening to In Touch. Brought to you by Geisinger, Muncie, and Jersey Shore. State-of-the-art healthcare close to home.